Max Verstappen has made a statement in Brazil by winning the race after starting P17 in one of the trickiest conditions that the calendar could have provided to the drivers. But the Dutchman has made much more than that. He's silenced the British media and the people who were criticising him for the past couple of months. Ever since Spain, Verstappen has failed to stand on the highest step of the podium if we're to exclude sprint races. But that changed in Brazil, and with him likely confirming the fourth championship with Red Bull, could this be more than enough to silence the British media? It's safe to say that Verstappen is one of the hottest talking points after the latest race in Brazil, and that can be seen by the way he's handled the race from lap 1 to the very end of it, gaining 8 positions on the start, 2 of which were granted by the fact that Albon and Stroll did not start the race at all. Nevertheless, the man made moves that many wouldn't dare to try, and with Norris being stuck for 27 laps behind Russell for the majority of the race and begging for a pit stop in order to undercut the Brit, it was obvious that he would have yet another struggling race in which he lost the lead in turn 1 again. Be that as it may, Verstappen made sure to utilise everything, and after the virtual safety car caused by Hulkenberg has been called out, Russell and Norris tried to make the most out of this situation and pitted for fresh tyres. On the other hand, Verstappen, Ocon and Gasly risked it all and stayed out, and another safety car was summoned in order to neutralise the race. But this is not the moment that the top 3 waited for. They waited for something even greater, and the prize came to them at the perfect time. A red flag caused by Franco Colapinto, who spun at a very unusual place and wrecked the car in the middle of the track, meaning that Verstappen got to change his tyres for free along with Ocon and Gasly. At the restart, the Dutchman wasted no time and got past Ocon without any issues, while Norris was locked up and lost 3 positions in just a couple of corners, which goes to show the difference between a champion and a contender. After taking the lead, Verstappen piled up the fastest laps, and due to the hard conditions to overtake, it also meant that both Alpine drivers would end on the podium, while Norris would have to satisfy with P6. This was a massive statement to the British media as Verstappen became a player to win from 17th position as well in his rich portfolio, becoming the only one to win from 10 different starting positions. Damon Hill has been quite vocal about Verstappen's performance, or more precisely about the lack of the team's coordination and the ability to tell him what's wrong and what's not with his driving. But there was literally nobody there from the Brits in the post-race conference room that would ask Verstappen the uncomfortable questions they've asked in the past 10 races. This is something that has been noted by the 3, soon to be 4-time world champion, and when talking about it to a greater extent, he said, "I have a quick question here. I mean, I appreciate all of you being here, but I don't see any British press. Do they have to run to the airport, or they don't know where the press conference is? That is a fair question." What Verstappen also stated is that his focus is not to secure the championship in Vegas, because in order to do that, he needs to either finish ahead of Norris or outscore him by 2 points, so that in the last 2 races in the sprint event, he wouldn't have to worry about anything regarding the 4th championship. Jos Verstappen has been quite vocal about the shutdown process that his son has applied to the British journalists, and when talking about it, the former Benetton driver said, "This is Max's perfect answer to a lot of whining, and certainly in the direction of the English commentators, journalists and former drivers. They will keep their big mouths shut for now. Max has shown that he is the very best. Those people who shout that he should change his driving style is perfect. Also, such a first lap in the rain where he made up 6 places. He is always perfect in these conditions. He showed who is best. I believe he was very motivated after the negative journalists from England and the negative drivers. They think they are taking him out of his good mood, but he will only get better because of it. I'm very proud of what he did. The whole world saw who is the very best." Of course, what's worth noting is that Verstappen did have a lot of luck because of the red flag, but even without it, he has shown tremendous pace that would have likely put him in a great position to finish the race, potentially on the podium. Norris has gone on to say that if Verstappen started the race on the front row, he would have likely lapped him and Russell, and this goes to show that the cars that struggle on the dry are ones that perform extremely well on the wet, and considering the amount of talent that Verstappen has on these types of conditions, it was silly to believe that he wouldn't provide us with a masterclass. Even though Norris was quite stubborn at the beginning and said that he was not very sure that the win was up to talent, but pure luck because of the perfectly timed red flag as he called for a potential change in the rules, he then went on to congratulate his fiercest rival and said that the primary focus now is the Constructors' Championship. This brings us to yet another massive accomplishment that Verstappen can make. He could be the first driver to win the championship in the drivers' category, while his team is legitimately at risk to finish third in the Constructors' Championship because of the underperformance of Perez after 1982 and 1983, done by Rosberg and Piquet respectively. This just goes to show what type of driver Max is, and whether we like him or not, the generational talent that he is showing is massive. What we are very likely to see is even more domination in the next couple of races, because the Lion is the most dangerous when he is pressed against the wall, and we've seen a perfect response from this Lion when it mattered the most. But how did these statements from the British media affect Verstappen and his performance on the track, and more importantly, did they have any impact on it whatsoever? According to Verstappen, he paid zero to no attention to these individuals because they've been desperately waiting to see a downfall of the Red Bull team due to the boring season that was on play last year. Elaborating on this, Verstappen said, "I don't listen to those individuals, I just do my own thing. I am a 3-time world champion. I think I know what I am doing. Honestly, I have my opinions, I don't need to share them, but some people are just being very annoying, and I know who these people are. I don't really pay a lot of attention to them anyway, and I think I've got to the stage in my career with the right people supporting me and making my own decisions, so I think I know what I am doing." Andrea Stella has also paid his respect to Red Bull and said that both he and his team enjoyed the opportunity they had with Lando, as they are now more than aware that the championship has likely slipped through their fingers, as they would have to focus on keeping the second seat alive. When talking about it, the team principal of McLaren said, "The constructors was always our priority, so this doesn't change anything. When it comes to the drivers, I don't think for Lando there was any particular pressure. We were enjoying this quest. Sometimes from outside it may come across like there was an error there. When you lock the tyres with a car, I am not looking at the driver. I am looking at why the car keeps locking the tyres." With all this in mind, do you think that Verstappen has shut down all of the critics that came his way? And even more importantly, do you think that there is an opportunity in which he will revitalise the Austrian team and will make everyone who hasn't left stay and start a new era from 2026 onwards? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to find out more about the drama that's revolving around Lance Stroll and Aston Martin after his disastrous Brazilian GP that exposed his lack of driving skills yet again. Check it out in the video that's appearing on your screen right now.